Hey guys, my name's Phoebe and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'd like to show you what happens when a 2 AM YouTube session leads you to impulse buying 2¼ kilograms of epoxy resin. Now, this is the video I was recommended that started it all off. I was feeling like I was in a bit of a creative slump at the time, so when I looked at this, and my first thought was, wouldn't it be cool if that was a Pokémon? My next few weeks were sealed. So I looked on Amazon for some cheap but decent quality epoxy resin, bought it, and 2 days later the resin arrived. Now I just needed somewhere to build my creation, so I chose an ancient Vaseline tub I had lying around. Cleaning the remaining jelly from inside it was not pleasant. It got everywhere. This is definitely something you need to be careful of if you decide to take on this project. If you're not careful, everything you touch will be sticky. Make sure to wash your hands. Now, I started to put the resin together. It comes in these two parts, part A and part B, so you need to combine them with specific amounts, about 50, 100, or sort of around that region. And when you stir it, it's pretty satisfying, but then you realize you have to stir it for like 7 to 8 minutes to get it to combine properly, and it gets a lot less interesting. But as it was my first time, I wanted to film some slow-mos. I thought it was cool. Now you'll notice that while I was making this project, I mixed everything in single-use plastic cups. This is because everything that you mix epoxy in will get ruined. Guaranteed, because if you're using epoxy resin, you have to wait for it to fully cure and harden before you can dispose of it, because that's the law, and also it'll really ruin your pipes. And also, I've been using this paintbrush that I accidentally ruined with oil paints years back to mix everything, although ideally you also could be using a wooden stirrer. Now then I poured it into containers and I realized that I had way too much, so I got this little box that Toby had gotten at some convention a while ago and he said I could use, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do 2 of these, why not? So you'll see both the Vaseline pot and the long blue box throughout the whole video. Now this is what it looks like after it's been poured. You can't really tell it's there, but it looks like water, and it acts it's like a little bit thicker than water, but not as thick as you'd think. Then you need to cover them and then find a safe place where the cats can't eat them and Toby can't touch them so that they can harden and cure. Now this is a good time to really finalize what you're actually going to draw on these things and find some good reference images. And you just need to leave them overnight.
24 hours later.
So it's been a day, and hopefully your resin should have cured to the point where it's hard to the touch. Obviously don't press on it too hard if you want to check if it's done, because you might leave a mark and then it just won't be as nice and flat as it was before. But if you just give it like a quick little tap, it should be obvious that there's a surface there. Now here I'm going to start painting, and I don't know if you've noticed the thumbnail, but I'm going to be doing a Magikarp and a Gyarados, because they're just the first fish Pokemon I thought of. I started with a white layer, so I'd have something to build colour upon. And then I just began painting the colours over it. Now for the first few layers of resin, we only really want the bottom bits of the fish, like the lower fins, and just enough to really indicate what kind of colours are going to be there later on. Because remember, this isn't just a painting, it's kind of 3D. Now I will let my work say what I'm doing, because as you can tell, I'm not good at words. So yeah, see you in a bit. Later. Once your painting's done, mix up a new batch of epoxy and pour it all over your previous artwork after the paint is dry, and make sure that the layer is not too thick. Otherwise you'll lose some of the illusion. Then you can start your second layer. Ideally, you want anything between about 5 to 8 layers of paint total to make it work properly. About 2 layers into my painting sessions, I realised that my paintbrushes aren't quite small enough to cut it, so I bought some new ones on Amazon. And they're really great! I'd recommend them. And if you want to buy some yourself, I'm gonna leave all of the materials I used in the description below. It's at this point I realized that leaving a brush in epoxy overnight is a horrible idea, and this is why you shouldn't do it. Really good way to ruin a brush, that. As you may have noticed, the further along I get into this project, the higher up on the fish I'm drawing. This is to create the illusion of depth. And another way to tell how far I'm along is by how chipped my nail varnish is. As you get towards the final bits of the project, you need to be really focusing on detail work, because this is the bits that people are really going to see. And here we are painting the last few layers, just the final fins. And this is the final product. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, and I'm honestly quite happy about how they turned out. Like, I know I could probably refine it if I had a few more practices at it, but this is my first try, and yeah, this is what I made. I think of the two, I prefer the Magikarp. It's just the smaller scale, I think, just came out a little bit better. But yeah, I really enjoyed this project. I would totally recommend it. It's not that expensive. The epoxy itself came out to be at about £25 GBP. So depending on how much you're willing to spend, you can probably get cheaper epoxy. And I just used acrylic paint and a couple of tins I had lying about. So yeah, I would 100% recommend it. Anyway, if you like this video, please remember to like it. If you want, you can subscribe to me, you can follow me on Twitter or Twitch, I stream sometimes, or follow my Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and all products and music I use will be linked in the description. See you guys next time. Goodbye.